What's up everybody, Swillow here, and today I'm bringing you a game overview for Dynasty Warriors 9. So first off, I'm going to start by talking about the game world and the different elements within it, and then at the end of the video I'm going to give some of my overall impressions and thoughts about this game and comparing it to the other Warrior games. So first off, let's get right into this world. As you know, this game has shifted to an open world format as opposed to the more stage selected based action beat 'em up format that previous Warrior games had. So within this open world, you can freely roam around and you'll visit a variety of locations, different towns, different camps, different settlements, and other important hotspots around the world, and actual authentic locations within China itself, which is really cool. The open world has a lot of really interesting quality of life elements. I've played my fair share of open world games, and probably one of the things I like the most about this game's open world is the quality of life elements that it has. So first off, let me show some of these. Like for instance, you have the treasure info here. The treasure info kind of lets you see all the different materials and elements around the world, which means that if you're not really into wandering around like just mindlessly, you can see where things are and you can plan a path so that you don't have to spend a lot more time running around in the world than you want to. So sometimes maybe you do just want to mindlessly wander, and sometimes you just want to focus on the objective or getting what you want and getting back on trail. So I think that's one of the best things about this open world, is that it has the flexibility to play like a more open-ended run around and explore game, or it has the tools you need that when you want to just focus on your objectives, you can do that. Also on top of that, you have the fast travel, and once again, like I said, they do it a lot more, the quality of life on the fast travel is a lot stronger here compared to other open world games, because right from the start of the game you're able to do stuff like this where you can select the mission you want to do, and then you can warp by pressing square to a vicinity close to that mission. Sometimes it's going to be closer, sometimes it's further. It just depends on the style of mission or how you've progressed throughout the world, but basically it keeps the flow of the game at a faster, more focused pace if that's how you want to play the game, as opposed to doing a lot of running around. So that's really cool, and that's honestly one of my favorite things about the open world in this game, is that they have that ability to kind of focus on the task when you want to, because they have good tools to do that. Alright, so let's look at the equipment system in this game. The equipment system consists of your weapon. Your weapon's going to have a standard attack and defense rating, and you can also do something which is forge gems on it. Gems are one of your key forms of customization in this game, and you can equip gems to your various special abilities, or I don't know, unique attacks, trigger attacks, and reactive attacks, as you can see here. And gems come with basically two forms of modifiers. There's straight modifiers where you can see, like it says, let me find a gem for instance. So right here, like with the pummel gem, it's going to have trigger speed and attack speed, or trigger attack and attack speed. These are basically straight modifiers to your character, which are going to be active when you just equip the gem. Then you also get instances like, let's say on the wind gems here, the Azure Dragon gem, attack speed plus 8% with wind elemental. And the way you trigger elements in this game is by equipping the gem and then using the attack that has that gem. So if I equip the Azure wind gem to my launcher or my stun, and then I perform that, it will activate the gem, the element, temporarily, and I will get that kind of modifier that you get while having wind element active. So you're going to get you're going to get modifiers that are just straight, permanent, constant buffs, and you're going to get modifiers that are going to trigger based on having an element active. So hold on, let me actually set myself up real quick, because I realize I'm not set up right now. pretty much I run with a standard, mostly attack speed based setup, but there's definitely a lot of value in running other builds. Attack speed is just kind of fun in general. Alright, so I'm set up there. Next we have the upgrade. Upgrade is when you level up, you're going to get upgrade points where you can further choose which stats you want to spec in. So you can choose whatever you want, Muso speed, stuff like that, to put your stat points into. Once you put the stat points in, you can't get them back, so you do definitely want to be conscious of what you're putting your points into, but at the same time, I found that it's not like a huge drastic difference. So while you do want to be selective of how you use your points, it's not going to make a dramatic influence as opposed to the other customization elements. Let's go back to equipment and show off the accessories. So the accessories, you can equip up to 4, and accessories basically range from things like attack up, defense up, health up, to other things like item drop, experience up, and then you get some more cool ones that can modify some of the mechanics a little bit, which is a lot of what I use. I have stuff like this, Heaven and Earth Gauntlets, which resists enemy attacks while attacking, which means I won't be staggered at all while I'm performing attacks. Fine Bag of Wind, which gives you more air dashes, that adds +3 air dashes. Gold Crown, which will pick up enemies or items that are automatically, like, it'll pick up items automatically that an enemy drops that you defeat. It won't pick up items that are already planted within the world, but when you defeat an enemy, it will automatically give you the item, which is very helpful for grinding. Wind Fire Wheels, which is one of the coolest accessories mechanic-wise you can get. This will allow you to jump cancel at any time while performing an attack. Normally, you can already jump cancel, but you can only jump cancel after the attack is hit and you're jump canceling out of the recovery frames. Wind Fire Wheels will basically let you jump even before the attack actually hits, which means that it's a more technical accessory. You have to be more understanding of how the hitboxes work, make sure you're not jumping out of your attacks before they actually hit. But because you have that flexibility to jump out of more frames besides just recovery frames, it gives you a lot more freeform style and movement options, which is really cool. Down here we have our items. Now normally in Muso games, warrior games, you're gonna just pick up random items within the battle, and that's still something you can do in this game, but mostly they focus on the consumables now that you can buy or craft and then bring your own items, like these healing items, healing Muso, raising stats, stuff like that. So it's going to be less about picking up items from battle and more about bringing the items you want into battle. Then you have your horse. And also one thing about the horse as well, while riding around or fighting on it or anything, it will level up, which is really cool. So definitely get a horse and use it as often as you can, because that will raise it up through utilizing it. And so that's about it menu wise. There's some other little things in here, just missions. Let me explain how the mission structure works in this game. Up here you can see you have the orange scroll mission. The orange scroll mission is going to be the primary objective for the chapter in order to complete the chapter or to move further into the chapter. You basically just have to beat this mission and then you will progress in the story. Down here, as you can see, there's a line going from the main mission. These are like sub missions to the main mission, and by completing these you're going to lower the level of the difficulty on the main mission. If you look up here, you can see the level will flash between the level it lowers to once you complete this mission. So there's two reasons you would do these missions, which is to lower the difficulty of the main mission or just to get a lot of really good loot, because these missions normally do give you nice rewards. As you can see here, by completing this mission, I'm going to get a scroll. Scrolls are probably some of the most valuable rewards you can get in this game, so I definitely encourage you, anytime you see a scroll-based mission, to go for it, because scrolls are going to be a really major part of crafting high-end stuff as you get further into the game. And then down here, these missions are more completely optional sub-missions. These are missions that you really don't have to worry about doing unless you just want to do them for fun or you want the materials that they offer. But these missions pretty much keep respawning, or you can keep replaying them over and over in some cases and such. So these are missions that are more based on when you need something, a certain material. If you see a material pops up that you need, or you just want to kind of deviate, you just want to do some stuff without focusing on so much on the storyline. Alright, so let's get into gameplay. Out here on the open world, like as you would expect in an open world game, you're gonna encounter a lot of different things, which would just range from, you know, basic pickup loots. Maybe sometimes you'll encounter overly powerful enemies. Sometimes you're gonna find just different towns and stuff. Finding different towns, like if you stick straight to the story, you're actually not gonna uncover too much of the map. The story keeps you on a super linear path. So if you especially want to find like really interesting hotspots, like I want to show you one right now, one of my favorite places in the game, past the Ziping Kate, I think that's how you say it, Ziping Kate. Back here in this whole desert area is a lot of super powered bandits, which I found were great for, whoops, I'm going the wrong way. Which I found are really great for grinding, but they're also really fun for just fighting and stuff. This is kind of where I practice, like when I want to practice the battle system. This is a super good spot for that. So like, I'm just gonna run in here a little bit so I get some enemies popping up. And then I'll start talking about the battle system, of course. Okay, so let's get into talking about the battles. First off, before I go into battles, I want to explain that this game, one of the big changes this game made besides open world is to the combat, which is that they deviated from the string system, the square triangle, square triangle, square triangle format. They deviated from that to something a little more standard action game like, where you can trigger attacks through different inputs and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of interesting new things that they brought into this game as well, which is something called the state system. And the way the state system works, I'm going to go in here as I talk about it, is you have these different attacks. You can see up here I have the trigger attacks on the left. The trigger attacks are attacks like launch, stun, and knockdown, and these will force the enemies in essentially different states. Like as you can see, the knockdown is going to force the enemy into a knockdown state, and depending on what state the enemy is in, when you press the square button, which is like your standard attack button, or your flow attack button, which is like the proper term this game uses, your character is going to automatically select an attack that's favorable to the state the enemy's in. So when you knock the enemy down, you're gonna get a combo string that is favorable for a knockdown enemy. Or if the enemy's airborne, you're gonna do like a air juggle string and such. And this creates like a more automated factor to the combat, which can sound bad in some ways, but it actually works really well. And there's a lot of room for you to still make really technical and elaborate choices within the combat system despite this automated. I feel like the more automated side of this, by choosing certain helpful attacks in situations, definitely helps the game to be more fun for everybody in general. Warriors does have a reputation of being called like a mindless masher. So I feel like this was more a system that helps. This helps the players get more variety and more substance that don't really care so much about exploring the more technical side of the gameplay like I do. So I think it's a cool system that has a lot of value for both people that want to play more casually and people that want to play more technically. So let me get right into the combat. So I can do, as you can see, I just did a little stealth attack. If you initiate enemies from far away, without them seeing you, you can do certain sneak attacks like that. So as you see there, I just quickly took out that enemy. So now let me kind of explain some things about the combat. First, I'm going to go in here and just use my square string, the flow attack, like I said. The enemies are in a standing state right now. So as you can see, I'm going to get... This is my standard square string. That's basically what happens whenever I'm attacking a standing enemy. So now let me use one of my trigger attacks to force them in a different state. So this is my knockdown one. Whoop, I killed him. Alright, so let me find another enemy. And basically what I'm going to do when I go into this next battle is I'm going to hit him with my knockdown string. And then I want you to see how the attack animation is going to be different from the one I just showed you. So the first attack animation I just showed you back there is where you throw the sword around you and it does the follow-up string. So when I do the knockdown string, it's going to give me a sort of different string, as you can see here, like a sword flurry. And then the enemy was stunned after that, which gave me a stun string. So basically I got those two different strings simply by pressing the square while the enemy was in different states. So let me stun the enemy real quick and show you the stun string real quick. Again. So that right there is the string that would trigger when the enemy's stunned. And then let me do another knockdown, and then I get the knockdown string right here. Now let me show you the launcher, and then when I press square, I'm gonna get a launcher string. So basically, those are like the three that's like the basics of how the trigger and the whole state system, trigger attacks and the flow attacks work. And now let me kind of show you how I'm gonna mix and match all these different attacks together. So if you saw right there, after I did the square string from my knockdown attack, which is like the little sword twirl flurry that he does, it will put my enemy into a standing state afterwards, or a stun state actually, which means from there I can go into another square string, which it will be my stun string, and then you can sort of mix and match your moves from there on. And then you can also utilize things like jump cancels, roll cancels and such to further give yourself more freedom in how you combo. So now let me just do like kind of something, let me just kind of get super fancy. Ooh, this guy doesn't want to stand still. Okay, so there I just string together a series of moves just to be a little more elaborate with the combat system. But it's really cool because it actually flows really well. The speed of it, the pacing of it, the cancels they all feel really nice, and there's a lot of cool ways to kind of break and manipulate and understand how the flow attacks and the state system works. It's really hard to explain the system, to be honest, because it's just so unique to video games in general. Like it's not something I can really compare. I guess actually the closest video game I've played that I can compare this to is something like Kingdom Hearts. If you've ever played Kingdom Hearts, there is, like, based on the distance you are from the enemies and different things like that, Kingdom Hearts does kind of select specialized attacks in a way, or like if the enemy's airborne, just pressing square. So I think that's the closest other video game that I can compare this system to, but it's still a lot more different in this game in comparison to Kingdom Hearts. That's just like the closest comparison I can make, to where you really have to kind of play it for yourself just to truly understand it. But it's an interesting new system. It's a lot of fun. It has a lot of room to be technical, and I'm definitely, like, I feel like it could definitely use a little more elements to it, but I think it's super strong as is, and I've had so much fun with it. If you saw the combo video I released yesterday, that was just a good showcase of how crazy this system can be when you push it. So let me just take down some enemies real quick, and then I'll kind of show off like the mission flow. Okay, so let's just go into a mission now and kind of show like general mission flows. So let's pick. Ooh, let us see. Alright, so I'm gonna have to go back to town for all of these. I kind of want to do something a little more. Alright, this will take me into a battle, so this is a good mission. Missions generally are going to have you just taking down certain important enemies, but you're also going to have like a variety of other missions where you may have to play, like you may have to do something like an escort. You may have to do like a sort of little mini game-esque dialogue stuff, or like there's this one instance where within your troops you have like an infiltrator, and you have to figure out which one of them are the infiltrator. And that's actually a really interesting mission in that if you're not picking the right people, you're going to lower the morale of your army. So there's kind of a lot of emphasis on being able to determine which is like the right culprit and such. And there's like mostly just missions where you're going to fight and take down important enemies, but there are little interesting missions like that to break up the general flow. So let's get this mission from Wenguanji and get right into it. Woo. That's what you get for button mashing.
I don't like you. Be gone. This is the end.
Okay, so if you see on my screen up there, you can see the little yellow scroll, which is going to kind of tell me the direction that my mission is in. So I'm going to move to my mission destination. Okay, so now I'm basically in a battle zone, and when you're in these missions, you pretty much really just have to complete the objective, but there's a lot of other troops around that you can fight at your discretion for loot, for fun, for grinding, and stuff like that.
Reach the palace. If you do not leave now, I will cut you down instead.
Alright, so let's run to our enemy and take him down. Whoa. I didn't realize there was water under there.
Traitors. How could I not
Okay,
have enough to overcome
so oh, looks like I gotta take down one other person here. So let's go find him.
Well done. I praise your efforts.
Now you have, as you can see, I'm using the grapple hook, which is kind of a new thing. Which the grapple hook definitely gives you a lot of freedom to bypass terrain. Okay, so I think that's it for this mission.
We have to retreat. You've been a powerful foe today, Sima clan. Take defensive positions. I have claimed control of the palace. Cease your futile resistance at once.
With me here, our victory is never in doubt.
That's the spirit.
message lag is still very much a thing in this game. The traditional warriors waiting for. So as you can see, I complete the mission, I get my objectives, I get my rewards, I got a level up, and that's basically just a quick showcase of a mission. Usually missions will be a little more hectic when you're starting the game, but of course I'm already in game. I have like really strong gear and everything, so most of these missions are not really a big deal for me. But that's like just a basic example of how a mission is going to work, and for the most part that's about it. All I want to really talk about. If you do have more detailed questions or you want to see things more specific, since there's so many little things that I could talk about, but I don't want to make this video crazy long. But if you have like more detailed questions that you just want me to answer, or things you might want to see in future videos, definitely let me know in the comments. And with the basic game flow shown, I'm gonna now just talk about my personal opinion on this game. So I've basically been playing this game for a week now. I was provided a early copy courtesy of Koei Tecmo, so I've been putting a lot of playtime into this day and night. As you can see here, I have 48 hours of playtime. I have seen the ending from at least one character's perspective, and I've just spent a fair amount of time exploring the world and engaging in different elements of it. So basically, what I feel about this game is it's super amazing. Like I love this game so much. I would go as far as to say, like, in terms of Dynasty Warriors line, it's my favorite. And it definitely has some elements where you're like, this can be touched up more, this can be more fleshed out and refined. But I think that's something that's all going to come with time, you know, within a direct, like a sequel or like an XL game or something. They definitely have the potential to push this specific engine and foundation further, which is really cool to think about, because I think that for how ambitious this game is, they pulled it off pretty well. It all feels good, it's fun, and it just works, and I still get the satisfaction that I want from playing like a Warriors game, that fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping action. There's just more in-betweens to it. There's more in between the battles now, which is really cool. And I feel like that also ends up working for Dynasty Warriors specifically, because they've sort of built up the interest in the Three Kingdoms era with the Dynasty Warriors series. You know, from Dynasty Warriors 2 up to now, you know, they've definitely, I feel like they've built a general interest. I feel like there's a lot of people that are actually really into like the Three Kingdoms era and Chinese history thanks to Dynasty Warriors, which is a great thing. And I feel like this game is able to work the way it does because they built that interest, so they're able to make this world more like large scale and fleshed out, because there's an actual interest in this era that they've been able to develop over all the games, which is really cool. And I don't think this is necessarily the direction that other Warrior games have to go in, but I think it is definitely a really good direction for Dynasty Warriors, because they've built the interest, they've built up the history, and it's great to see it on this larger scale format where it's more detailed and intimate. And I just had, like, I've had such a great time with this game. There's been a lot of controversy about this game, which I want to talk about as well. One of the biggest talked about things is performance. So performance is definitely an issue, but I also want to point out that they did just release a patch today, which is great, and I'm pretty sure they're probably still gonna find more ways to further optimize the game flow. So today is great that they were able to get a patch out just a day after the game's Western release, which is really cool. I've been playing this game on the PlayStation 4 Pro, which already runs really well. It does definitely have some performance hiccups. I've been playing just for a little bit today on the new patch, which from what I've noticed on the Pro at least, it got better for sure. I don't know, maybe I just haven't played enough to be able to see like the more hardcore scenarios, but I definitely feel like on the Pro the performance got better, and I know on the regular PS4, which was like the biggest focus of the patch, from what I've heard, it's gotten better. It's probably now overall I don't know if it's really at the perfect level yet, but it's good that it's getting better, because that performance controversy was definitely a thing. I did play it on the regular PS4 before the patch, and while it was definitely passable, you know, you were gonna notice the performance, and I would have still, just because I love Warriors and I actually do like this game so much, I would still have played the game regardless if it got patched or not. But it's great that they did patch it. I felt like the performance wasn't so bad that it was worth missing out on this great game for, but it's great that they're addressing that, and hopefully they do continue to address that. Besides the performance, there are some elements to the open world. It's pretty basic. It's like an open world that is completely what you would expect. It's not doing anything super crazy, but it's more like a fan service open world. And by that I basically mean that by being interested in this era and China and all that, you'll see some really cool things that are interesting to that source material. But the open world itself doesn't really pull off anything overly like dramatic or new to open world gaming. Open world gaming is like a huge fad right now, so we're seeing a lot of games that are either just your everyday open world experience, or some games are trying to do something a little more crazy. This game doesn't do anything crazy, but it works, and I think that's fine. It doesn't really need to do more than work, because what I feel like Warrior games really come down to is the combat, which that's where they definitely delivered. The combat is a lot of fun. It's different, it's interesting, and I'm really looking forward to how they continue to push this new combat engine. And once again, like with the open world, I don't know if this combat engine is necessarily where they need to take Warriors in its entirety, like talking about like Samurai Warriors, the crossover games and everything, but I feel like it's a great new direction. It's great that they're taking Dynasty Warriors as the line to really push concepts, and I think it works, and I think it's great that we have Dynasty Warriors pushing these new interesting concepts within Warriors, because Warriors has largely been the same for so many years, and you don't fix what isn't broken, and Warriors definitely isn't broken, but I think it's nice to have more variety within Warriors, and this is definitely a cool way to mix up the old formula while still giving you that core satisfaction of the fast-paced, adrenaline pumping action. So I feel like this game is a very, very amazing and successful game in the things it tried, and there's definitely some kinks to iron out. The performance issues, fleshing out different elements of the world and the new gameplay, but it all works. And as a Warriors fan, as someone who's been playing since Dynasty Warriors 2, since the absolute beginning, and many of you who watch my channel know that I'm a Warriors diehard. Like, this Warriors to me is everything. Warriors, and even I play all the other knockoff Warrior games, that other companies try to make and mimic. Like, I love this formula of game, this format of game, and like, I've just been an avid lover and supporter of like the Warriors franchise, and especially like, to me, I feel like Koei Tecmo just is such a great developer in terms of like action games, and I really love their game flow. So I feel like, being a longtime fan, some people could say that this is going too far from the Warriors experience. I don't feel like it's definitely a lot of changes, but it still feels like a great game, like a great Warriors game to me. And I'm definitely happy to see them push this system further and further and further, and I like the game a lot. And I think that amidst the controversy, if you're a passionate Warriors fan like I am, I think you're gonna love the game, despite like the little flaws it does have, and some other elements just being changed so much. I think it's definitely a must-play, you know, to experience all these different changes and this new perspective on Warriors. And that's how I really feel about the game. I feel like it's just a truly good game, and I do recommend it. I definitely recommend it to anybody who, if you really just want to have my honest opinion, I think it's a great game to Warrior fans. The changes alone make it so fresh and different to try that I think that alone is interesting. It's just to have something really different and out of the ordinary for the series, but at the same time it still captures a lot of the core essence. So I definitely highly recommend this game. I'm definitely looking forward to the future that this engine may go in, and also hoping that all the little kinks like performance issues and stuff, they continue to patch and smooth those out, because I feel like a lot of people are so caught up in that they're not focusing on the actual game itself. But the game is really amazing, and I definitely hope you all give it a shot and let me know what you think in the comments. Definitely just ask me any questions you have about the game in general, or if you any content suggestions you might have. This game has so many little things to show off. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna go about doing content for the game, but I'm definitely gonna try to find as many little interesting things I can to show off. Maybe do more combo videos and stuff like that, or find some really interesting spots around the world to show off and things like that. But definitely let me know what kind of things you might want to see in this game. And that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope that I was able to give you a perspective that I know some people have definitely been saying they're waiting to hear my opinion because they respect my opinion and they know I'm very experienced within the Warriors franchise. So I hope that I was able to give you like the word you wanted to hear, whether to make you get the game or even maybe you just still want to hold out on the game. But I try to just give the best perspective I can on the game, and I will continue to give more detailed discussion on the game within the comments, or you can even join my Discord. I'll link my Discord down below, so definitely check my Discord. Come in there. I'm always in there. That's basically the best place to reach me. That's where you can basically reach me in almost real time, and I'm going to respond and answer your question as soon as possible. So definitely join my Discord if you're super avid and you want to engage in discussion with me or other Warrior fans. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Peace, everybody.